John?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Stand for the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening, everyone. Call to order the July 16th, 2019 Village of Massena Board of Trustees meeting. If you have a cell phone or electronic device, please silence it. We will call to order with a roll call. Trustee Winston.
Present.
Trustee Carvel.
Here.
Trustee DeShays.
Here.
I'm here. Mayor Courier is out of town on business this evening. First up, we have a presentation of certificate of recognition. I'm going to turn this one over to Trustee Winston.
Okay, so usually we save the best for last. We're going to start with the best thing tonight. We had a contest to help name the new park that will be on Water Street. We had all the elementaries enter names: Nightingale, Madison, Jefferson, Trinity, hundreds of entries, and there were hundreds of votes. And we have a winner, and we have a certificate to present tonight to Layla DeRushy. And I want to read the certificate. It says, for her creativity and imagination in proposing the winning entry of Wavy Waters Park in the Name the Park contest for the park being constructed on Water Street in the Village of Massena. So join me in congratulating Layla. And if the trustees could join me in a photo opportunity with Layla. Come on up. With all of us in the picture together. You're going to get right in the middle of us. Open it. What's that? Open it. Open it. There we go. Yes. And it matches your outfit. Did you plan this? We didn't even plan this.
Come on in, Herbie.
Are we in?
Well, you know what? You're kind of behind the. Can you lower that just a little? There you go. Perfect. Thank you. Right. 3, 2, 1. One more. Thank you.
Awesome. Good job,
All
Layla. We
right.
thank you very much.
Congratulations. You want to shake our hand? Go right along the line here.
Thank you very much. And Mayor Courier says thank you as well.
Good job, good
Yeah,
job.
very good job. So thank you
Good
so
job.
much.
I'll get some money to do something with it.
Thank you so much for coming.
Oh. Where's Francis?
Always good to have the youth involved, so thank you, Trustee Winston, for organizing and coordinating that. That's great. All right, report of officers and committees. First up, treasurer's report.
Good evening, everyone. You have been provided the preliminary, and I say preliminary, revenue and expense reports for 18-19. I have also included for you the same thing for 19-20's current budget. I've also done up the projections through 18-19 for the end of the year, and also done the current ones for June as well. So you should have all of those. If you don't, let me know. On this report, I don't think you normally see the 19-20 first month's summary. I did include it this year, so that's under item number 3. Under number 1 is the summary, does not include sales tax. We won't get that sales tax check until 1st of August. But I did contact the county and ask them how much we get so that I can do the accrual and kind of keep moving forward with the Coolsville books. So it gets booked back to the previous year. It's roughly $470,000. So it's, I think, $4,000 or $5,000 less than what it was last year. So we're still ahead in the budget for sales tax for the year end by, I think it was 46,000. But it was still a little bit down compared to last year. So number 3 is the current month's summary. You'll see a number of negative amounts in there for the refuse, water, and sewer. That is because I have to do the accruals for the modified accrual for cap rules. So what we book we would normally book right now is because of the service dates of when the service was for is in the prior year. So I have to book it and then reverse it into the new year. That's why it shows up as a negative until we start getting into another month of collections and it reverses it out back on the positive side. But that's normal. The reason for the large expense in the Joint Rec Fund for June was a $232,000 payment for the roof project. I had to make that first one in May. So that's why you're seeing that. Sorry, the payment was made in May. I had to transfer the money to the capital project that it's in. So that's why it's showing up as a transfer in the Joint Rec Fund to the capital project fund. Working on the annual update document for the state. I'm most of the way through the AUD for Joint Rec. Just have to do some fixed assets and a couple other areas to kind of wrap it up. And I should be able to start reviewing it, make sure it's accurate before I submit it. So I should be okay for the July 31st deadline. Through the close of business, July 11th, we collected $5,103,684, which was approximately 80% of the total adjusted warrant for taxes, which was about $6,377,181. Last year, at the same time, was about 81%. So we're pretty close to what we were last year. Bond payment was made for the June 1st Center Street Parker Ave sewer lines bond, $30,000 principal and $10,706 in interest. The only last item we have was to revisit the budget amendment that we talked about last month regarding the new computers for the police department.
Sure. And I'll add on to that one. As you'll recall, trustees, we wanted to take the extra month to dig a little deeper, as we like to watch every penny that we spend to see if that was indeed the best quote, and it is. The mayor and I and the chief have been working. Not only is it the best quote, it is very good machine upgrades. We asked some questions about the specs, make sure that we're not going to be in a jam in a couple years the way technology is, that we are getting the absolute latest. And due to the complexity of the systems that the police department uses, we really are encouraging that we vote to move forward with this. In terms of the rest of the systems, we have a little more wiggle room. They're more standalone, and the end of life cycle is not until the next year. So we're going to do a little more investigation with Lisa and whatnot and see what they have.
One concern I know with that is two computers, there was one going to get like 8 gigabytes or something, and the other ones were going to be 16 gigabytes. The reason why they get 16 on those two?
Yeah, if you don't mind. It was one of the reasons we inquired on the processor and the rest of the machine architecture. When you look at the cache and the architecture and the CPU unit, 8 is probably more than sufficient for 99% of the needs. The 2 that are 16 are for that just have above and beyond normal processes run on them. So they're kind of the extreme machines that are needed just for special circumstances.
Okay, that one, like the difference is something like $40 or something.
Right. They all could be easily upgraded in the future, but
Okay.
it,
I'll make that motion.
Second.
motion by trustee Carville, seconded by trustee Winston. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All righty. Thank you, Treasurer.
Thank you. I got a duck out to go push stuff.
Good luck. All right, next up, code enforcement, trustee Carville and myself.
I don't have anything at this time.
Either. Economic development, trustee Winston and myself. We did attend a meeting last night. I don't know if you want to speak to it or if you'd like me to.
Sure. We met with the chamber and the town and worked together on coming up with branding for Massena, trying to figure out ways to not only increase tourism, but increase local businesses, how to get people here, how to come up with a vision that attracts the people that we need to come here to boost tourism and boost business in our local area. So we had a really good brainstorming session, and I believe we'll continue with that
Absolutely, and that will tie into a agenda item a little bit later on as well. Fire Committee, Trustee Cardwell and myself.
We met last week, we have an item for later on in the agenda. They're having trouble with their compressed air for the self-contained breathing apparatus. It's on its last leg and it's 30 years old, so we want to get it replaced before it fails, because once it fails, it not only affects this fire department, it affects Alcoa, Power Authority, other departments close by, so that'll be on, go out for bid later on.
Bernard, anything to add?
Nothing to add to that.
Personnel Committee, Trustee Winston, Trustee DeShays.
Nothing in the report.
Go ahead, Doug.
Police Committee, Trustee Cardwell, Trustee DeShays.
Once again, there's an item later on in the budget, they've interviewed everything for the school resource officer, and that'll be up later on.
Recreation Commission, Trustee Cardwell, Trustee DeShays.
Yeah, they've been pretty busy. Finally got the weather to break for us. The beach is pretty, very good. We got some sand put in. Trustee, for the nightclub is involved in it. And a lot of things are going on down there, not only at the beach, but every Wednesday, they call it Wacky Wednesday. There's something going on every Wednesday that's offered. They play slip and slide kickball, and they play with, on July 3rd, they played the Frisbee golf and Guy water balloon war on July 31st. They make their own ice cream August the 7th, which will probably be 100% participation. They got a trip that's planned, they've been trying to get it planned over in, they have a place over in Canada, and they finally think they're gonna go this year. And that's, in fact, this one.
What is that?
No, tomorrow. They have the Boss Frog Jumping Contest, July 18th at 9 o'clock at the arena. Trophies and ribbons and prizes will be awarded. And there are pickleball, tennis games at local field tennis courts every Thursday at 9:30. There'll be no cost, and the equipment is provided. If you notice, they're having trouble trying to fix those tennis courts. They're working on it. We're looking for a grant, and that's about all I got for now. Pretty active.
Street Committee, Trustee Winston and myself.
We just finished paving Main Street. It looks really good.
A lot of projects happening. The next big one that community probably already aware of, they've seen the announcement, it's going to be on Bailey Road, and that'll be about 4 weeks long. Various things happening there, so great to see improvements being done, so we continue to push forward with that work. Water and Sewer Committee, Trustee Winston and myself. All right, initial public comment period. Initial public comment period, if you'd like to speak, we ask that you step up to the podium, state your name and address for the record, please.
Hi, I'm Assemblyman Mark Walczyk,
Welcome.
108 Court Street, Watertown, New York, 13601. I just wanted to stop by. I was in Massena for most of the day today, and it's always nice to be in the northernmost point of New York State, right here in the front yard of America. I hadn't seen one of your board meetings before and figured would work it into the schedule before we shot back to Watertown. So
Great.
I just wanted to say hello, shake your hands, give you my business card, and let you know if you ever have any issues with New York State, need any questions answered, or I can be of any assistance, please feel free to reach out anytime.
Awesome. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Nice to meet you.
You as well.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Good to see you.
Herb DeShays,
Keep up the great work.
thank you.
That ice cream event sounds very enticing. Absolutely. Reach out anytime.
I just assumed you were in Massena, asked what the hot thing to do on a Tuesday night was, and was told the village board meeting.
Thank you. Good to see you.
Is that it? Very good.
Great, thank you, sir.
Uh,
And I will just, I'm sorry if I could add one more. I hear great things. I met with some town officials today as well, and everyone's saying great things about Massena right now. really encouraged by the momentum, by the branding efforts that are going on. I'm excited too to see Massena kind of turn the corner here. And I think we're going to see this generation write a new Massena, and it's going to be a better one. I really appreciate all the work that you do as electeds and community leaders. So keep the faith, keep your chins up, and I think we're going to see brighter days here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Additional public comment? Seeing none, I will move on. Old business. Town of Massena branding and identity proposal by H3 Designs. Trustees, you'll recall the last meeting, we talked about this. The town entered into an agreement with H3 Designs, not just for a website, but for a complete branding and marketing initiative. They signed the agreement, but they also signed it in hopes that the village and maybe even another entity like Boutique Air might come in with them to help share the burden of the cost. Trustee Winston and I, as she mentioned, met with them last night, over a 3-hour long meeting, and it didn't feel like 3 hours. It was that good, that energetic. Really a valuable effort that goes so far beyond a website and an app. And more in terms of making sure all the efforts, there's so much that's being done by our community, whether it's businesses, organizations, local boards and governments, so much being done, making sure that we can kind of have that cohesion and that synergy to make sure that economic development, community development moves forward as a result of all these efforts being on the same strategy, the same page. So the mayor and I had some questions and concerns initially, and we've been working individually with the town board members, and they did get an amendment to their contract regarding who owns the content, because that was a little unclear. So that's been straightened out into the direction we would like, where it's a little more clear we'll own things as they're developed. The discovery process has already started. They have included us in, even though we're not technically bought in financially. But I'm actually going to motion that we move forwards financially supporting the initial contract. Their total contract cost was $24,000 for this current year. I'd like to suggest that we offer financial support of at least a third of that, which would be $8,000. Keep in mind, they do allow us to use their website component. Their app will feature the town, which is, the village is 80% of the town. So it is a win-win, and to have seats at the table as these branding decisions are made are really in our best interest as well, so we can speak for our constituents as well. So I'm going to move that we approve the expenditure of $8,000 towards the town's contract with H3 Designs. Seconded by Trustee Winston. Discussion? All those in favor, say aye. 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 Opposed? Hearing none. New business, proposed resolution authorizing submission of an application for the New York Main Street Downtown Anchor Grant Program. So you may recall I think it was the last meeting, we scheduled a variety of public hearings. There were 4 grant applications that we were going to pursue. We were still kind of determining what the best funding mechanisms to pursue for those were. And it turned out that the best funding mechanism, in our belief, for this one was this Downtown Anchor Grant Program. So that actually didn't require a public hearing, it required a resolution, and that's what this is. I'll read the last part of the resolution. Therefore, be it resolved that the Village Board of Trustees duly convene at a meeting hereby authorizes submission and administration of said grant to New York NYMS Downtown Anchor Program in the amount of up to $500,000 with a minimum 25% cash match provided by GoPro Ventures LLC with up to 5% in administration revenue to receive for providing such services. So this is for the 37 Water Street property. Their plans, I don't know how much it goes into. It would be a value-added dairy business that would have a storefront but also be shipping out, would be the best way to describe it. Very, very confident in the GoCo venture people. They have a very solid idea, very good background, and are very committed to the region, Massena, and downtown. And I'm excited for this potential. Motion by trustee Cardwell,
Second.
seconded by trustee DeShays. It is a resolution, called individually. Trustee Winston,
Aye.
trustee Cardwell, trustee DeShays.
Aye.
I'm an aye. Next up, we have an authorization to solicit bids for breathing air compressor. Foreman Hardy, would you like to speak to this one?
Yes, thank you. As trustee Carvel stated, our air compressor and cascade system for our breathing air for SCBA's and scuba, not only for our department, but it's used by many departments in this area. The system is slowly falling apart on us. It's getting to the point of no return. We've had communications with the company that manufactured it. They don't even make this thing anymore. It's getting harder and harder to find parts. It's on its last leg.
It's over 30 years old.
It's over
correct?
30 years old, that is correct. So we had to dig the dust off of it and try to find some plate on it somewhere to be able to figure out exactly how old it was. We would really like to get on top of this and get something in place that meets the current industry standards before this thing falls apart and we're not able to use it. So I'm requesting to be able to solicit bids for a breathing air compressor and cascade system.
Motion by trustee Cardwell,
Second.
seconded by trustee Winston. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item number C, appointment, Jody Daggett, Special Patrol Officer. Chief Love.
Thank you very much. So last week, the hiring committee, just give you a little background, our hiring committee, we wanted to make sure that we had the proper people in place while we hired, or sort of while we interviewed for our special patrol officer position. And part of that, we had our school officials, we had a student that was on the interview committee, and then we also had law enforcement. We had 2 qualified individuals that we interviewed. They interviewed very well. And so part of that, our hiring committee picked an individual. He has 22 years experience with the SUNY Potsdam Police Department, very knowledgeable of dealing with youth, dealing with adolescents that this individual is going to be dealing with a lot in the school district. So I would ask that the village board appoint Jody Daggett. He lives here in the village of Massena, very close to the school, matter of fact. And his starting date, we won't have until he successfully completes the requirements that we have set forth by the county personnel and also our guidelines. He'll be paid at a per diem rate, and that's all listed in the agreement or contract that was signed several months ago between the school district and the village. So if you could, I would actually ask that Jody Daggett get appointed by the village board.
Can you do discussion first, or
Sorry?
discussion first, or?
Sure.
Is all his rate, his pay is going to be covered by the school?
Yes,
So we're not going to, if he's our employee, but they're going to cover everything?
that's correct. That's covered in the agreement that was signed several months ago, that he will be paid at that per diem rate of $166.66 for every day that he is working, and that will be reimbursed by the school district.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by trustee Cardwell, seconded by trustee DeShays. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, next up, we have the authorization to solicit bids for paving a municipal parking lot, fire department, and rear of town hall. Bit of background on this, trustees, even though we're the ones that are going to be putting out the authorization to solicit bids, you have the memo from the superintendent. This is the grant that the town of Massena received. We worked on it together, but it's technically in the town of Massena's name. And it's going to be, you can already see the work's been started with the electrical poles in our parking lot here, but it'll be this parking lot and the parking lot across the road, fire station, will be redone. The grant is in the town's name. The village is going to be doing most of the work. We are working on an intermunicipal agreement where the town, with the grant funds, will reimburse the village for the costs associated with it. However, there is a part of the work where we just don't feel we're able to be sufficient in doing it. So we're going to do everything right up to the final paving, and then subcontract out with Barrett to have them come in and finish it up. So that's what this this authorization to solicit bids is for. Right. Motion by trustee Carvel,
Second.
seconded by trustee Winston. All those in favor?
Aye.
E, under new business, chapter 270 of the general code of Village Massena, taxi cabs and vehicles for hire. We have with us tonight representatives from Green Taxi. I believe they wanted to speak to the board regarding taxi code issue.
Yes, we do.
If you don't mind
Yep.
coming to the podium, that'd be much appreciated.
We are, right now, and during the day shift, from 6 a.m. to 6 a.m., we are swamped. We're only allowed 5 taxis. At the same time, Massena Transport has 5 taxis. But during the day, we have medical vehicles too that we pay taxi insurance and everything on, and they're just sitting there. We're not allowed to use them to do other calls with. But at the same time, at 6 o'clock at night, Massena Transport closes their doors. I don't know if you guys realize this or not. They shut their doors, they can close down. They're not 24 hours, 7 days a week no more. The only time they work is during the day and at night when it's profitable for them. If they get a good night, New Year's Eve night or something, then they take taxis out. The rest of the time is not. We're 24/7, 7 days a week. We try to work with the village, the police officers when they need us at night and stuff. But we would like to see if we could get more taxis during the day. We're paying for these taxis already just to sit there sometimes when we're not doing medical anymore. In the village, on the 1st and the 3rd, it's crazy. We're doing 200 calls. I brought lists and sheets in to have them out to show him what's going on with this and stuff. And at night, truthfully, I know, but it's hearsay, I know during the day shift, if we do a stop and route, it's $1. That's by the village ordinance. And $0.25 a minute. Massena Transport does not abide by that law at all. They look at it as soon as you get there, you got your foot out of the door, you get back in the car, that's another ride. It's $5. No $1 a minute, it's $1, no $0.25 a minute, it's $1 a minute wait time. We have never done that. We have been fair with the village and everything they've asked us for this. But it's getting to the point now where if we can't get an increase on some of this, even like if you look at posting rules are totally different than this. They're crazy. That's way high. But at the same time, we need to up the price of the fare. It hasn't been in many years. We pay $6,000 a year, or a month roughly, for taxi insurance. We pay $2.95 to $3.10 a gallon for gas. We have like 11 to 13 employees at all times. We have to pay workman's comp and everything on them. And at nighttime, it does slow down in the summertime. 6 o'clock, it's slow. Do you need an extra taxis at that hour? No. But at the same time, you can't have 2 or 3 drivers on to make up the flow because it's taking the money out of the day shift. It's like price shopping, and they all decide, well, now it's time we have to make and decide what time we're going to close at night because there's not enough money. If you want to take it from day shift and pay the night shift drivers, but after a while, it runs out. And that's what we're asking for. We're asking to have more taxis put on. I don't know if we can. I don't believe transport should have as many taxis as us if they're not using them. They're not essential to them. They're not even using them during the day or at night. They close their doors.
So just a couple of things, sorry to interrupt, but I want to make sure, Massena Transport's not here, so
Right.
I don't want to get in.
No, and I don't want it either, but I want them to.
But just to confirm, you're formally requesting, in addition to your previous request of more licenses, you're now also requesting a rate increase?
Yeah, I talked to the mayor about it. I have already spoke with the mayor about it, he said bring it up at the board meeting.
Okay.
Because, I mean, this $5 has been in forever. I mean, and, I mean, $1 a stop and stuff, you get people.
So this is the first time you've come to the board with this?
Yes, this is the first time I've talked to
Because
the mayor.
I'm confused because your Facebook page indicated that the village has refused to raise
Tim, I talked to
rates.
right, and the mayor. I have.
Realizing this is the board that
But
does
we
rate
have went to the
changes.
mayor, we have went to Adam, Adam has asked us for copies of our paper.
But you do understand this is the board that.
Board,
makes
right,
rate
and, but
increases.
we've asked him to go to the front of the board for several months now. And he kept saying he's gonna bring it to the boards and have an opt-out committee. And
The
we
mayor
haven't-
doesn't speak for business owners. Business owners speak for themselves.
Well, I'm just going by what the mayor told us, and I'm not trying to give
Well, he's not
anybody,
here
I
as
mean, I
well,
know
so
that that makes it
I'm
very
just
rough.
telling you, it's the first time I've
But I
heard
mean,
from
he
you.
said he talked to you.
If I may finish, it's the first time I've heard that you wanted a rate increase in addition to more licenses.
Okay.
The conversation's always been about licenses. Even when you look back at the article, and the last time this came up, I just pulled up an article
Right.
from one of the papers. It was all about licenses. You couldn't keep up. You said it had 180 to 200 calls
Right.
in a 12-hour shift, and you need more licenses.
And we do, and that's, the day shift is fine, that's what I'm saying, it's that night shift. If you're gonna keep enough people on at night shift, on weekends, it's fantastic, but I mean, Sunday through Wednesday nights, it's slow. But if you only have one driver on, okay, then you got everybody calling and screaming that you ain't got enough people on. But then if you put two drivers on during the summertime, it's slow. I mean, then you're taking money from day shift, because you ain't gotta just pay the two drivers, you gotta pay the dispatcher at night.
Sure.
And everybody
And
else.
I'm just asking questions, because I want
Right.
to make sure.
Right, and I
when
want
it's-
everybody to
when
know
it's
what we're
reported
saying.
tomorrow that the, general public member that utilizes these has a full understanding of what you're requesting and why.
Right.
So business is really good during the day,
Okay.
so much that you need more licenses, but you need a rate increase
For at
to
night.
get more business at night.
At night, you can't, I mean, if you have a business during the day, it's like Price Chopper, they're not gonna take their money from the daytime business and give it to the people at nighttime. They're gonna say, well, this is the time to close at night, after 11 o'clock at night, we don't make no money. I mean, and they're not gonna keep taking money from day shift to pay night shift.
So your premise is the increased rate.
I don't want it during the day, that's what more or less saying, if we could change something in the books, like how Postum has it, where they change their,
Oh.
see what I'm saying is Postum changes their rates at night, and like how many people in their car. I think that's crazy, if you're picking up at the same house, if you got 3 people, or 2 people, or 1 person, you shouldn't have to change the rate of that price. But Postum, what they do is after a certain hour, they raise their rate up, and I mean, some of the things that they do, I mean, they even have a no-show policy, where they charge the customer if they call, I mean,
They also have a very different license.
yeah, and that's like Chase.
So you gotta be careful
But
on
at
what
the
you
same
want to
time, you're looking
pursue.
at Uber in town, they're $8. We're 5. I mean,
Gives you a competitive advantage.
you know, it does, but at the same time, is you gotta be able to pay all your bill, and during the, and I shouldn't, I mean, nobody, sooner or later is gonna say, well, we're not gonna take all the money from day shift and put it to night shift and not get a profit back on it. I mean, some winter times, you're a lot busier. Fridays and Saturday nights is bar time. Sunday through Wednesday nights is your people that are going to work, which they have to have rides to work, and I agree with that.
So at night, and I'm sorry, I'm just trying to get a firm understanding of everything. You're not getting calls, and it's your belief you're not getting calls because the wait time is too long?
Right, because we have to back.
So what do you think they're doing instead?
A lot of people are walking during the summer. It's
So-
nicer weather.
You think even though the rate will be higher, if you have another cab on and reduce,
Yeah, like last night, okay, we went down to one driver last night, just another time, just to test the water, at 9 o'clock at night. Our wait time at 1:30 this morning was an hour and a half wait time for a taxi.
but how many calls said no when they heard that?
A lot. I mean, it's hard to show you in the red, I mean, but there was,
So-
but no, a lot of them did say no. Then you get there and there's a no-show. So you're driving, then you're defeating your purpose. You're going there and you're waiting for a person, there's nobody coming up. A few people will call back and say, no, I don't want to wait that long, or I'd found different.
Yeah, I don't want to monopolize the discussion, and I certainly can't speak for these guys. I'm just struggling to understand, we're so busy, we need more licenses during this 12-hour shift.
Just like Massena Transport, I'm not trying to back them,
If I may finish.
but I mean, they close at night, we can do
If I
it.
may finish. We're so busy during a 12-hour shift that we need more and more licenses. We want a rate increase because we think adding a cab on will increase calls because the wait time will be less.
At night. I'm not saying nothing about the day. I'm saying from 6 o'clock at night, the rate increase, nothing during the day. Daytime,
What do you think the rate increase should be?
like $1 more or something. I mean, you can't do the $5, and the dollar stops, it's just, they're old. I mean, I'm not trying to be smart, but you can go to anybody and ask $1 for a stop, and you're sitting there sometimes 5 minutes at a gas station while they're going in and getting stuff, and it's hard to do a call. For $6, by the time you pay your drivers, pay your insurance on your vehicles and stuff, I mean, I'm not asking for a fortune, but I'm asking for enough to try to cover up at night. I'm not asking for nothing during the day.
I just have a question. So you said it's about an hour and a half when you went down to 1. Where are you transporting these people? Are you transporting them outside the village?
What's
Is
happening is
that
like
what's
you're
going on?
getting some people like from the open net or something, excuse me, I don't know what really.
No,
But
that's
I
fine.
mean,
I'm just
but
asking.
you're getting them like, and they want to go back to Hogansburg or something, so you pick up, you got 16 miles roughly one way, 16 miles, so you got 25 minutes each way, so then, and you got a car, no
That's
car
why I
in the
was
village.
asking if they were
And I mean,
going outside.
And you
Potential
know,
that's gonna happen even with 2.
it is gonna happen, but not as much, I mean. And like on Thursday, Fridays, and Saturday nights, we have 4 taxis on. We do.
Personally, I would like to see something more formal, official. All I've really seen, to be honest with you, was your Facebook post that said, we're up against the village refusing, to help us.
Yeah.
And please call the village clerk, who doesn't make the decision on licenses or rates,
Well, you know,
to lodge your complaints. And you
excuse me, that's
posted
why I
it.
wish the mayor was here. If I knew he wasn't here, then I would have asked for this to be a postponed, because he's the one that we went to, and we went to.
You're welcome to come back
And I
next
mean,
meeting.
and I understand that, but he's the one that told us, and he had us bring us the paperwork to him and stuff. And he said he talked to you, and I'm.
Regarding licenses.
I'm not here.
This
and
was the
he
first
said-
time
he
I
said he
heard
was gonna have
anything
them
about rate increase.
and stuff, and,
Because the last time you were here, all I heard about was how business is so good.
that was
more
when, yeah, that was what,
licenses.
6 months ago when the other company, I mean, and I don't have a problem with another company even coming in, and I said that then. If they wanna come in, we'll close at night like transport does. I mean, you just can't you can't do everything. I mean, you got dispatchers, you got heat, you got lights, you got air conditioning at night. And I mean, after a while, I mean, even if you were in a business, you say, well, I can't make money after 6 o'clock at night, there's no need of being here. There's no need of being open after them hours. I mean, stores do it all the time. They realize after they were booming in the beginning and at the end, it goes down. I mean, but during the day, there's a lot more people out. Nighttime is slower. There's hundreds of times more people out during the day, going back and forth to the stores, to the banks, to the doctors, all over. At night, it's more or less grocery shopping, going to a friend's house, going to a bar. So it does reduce the traffic down and at night.
Trustees, any questions or comments for Mr. Green?
You said you're okay with other businesses coming in?
Right, I mean, if we'll just close like the other ones. I mean, you cannot have 15 employees and not make money. You gotta,
If another business came in, then you would close the 24/7?
yeah, I would go right down like Massena Transport did. They made the decision when we came in and started making and taking a lot of calls. Well, we're not making it. We'll just take and do the day shift, and we'll do the medical during the day, and we'll just close at 6 o'clock at night. I ain't got no worries. I don't have to worry about somebody getting in my car, smashing my car at night. I ain't got to get. I mean, and I'm not trying to be smart about it, but there's so many decisions that you can look at.
What portion of your profit is based on weekend, Friday and Saturday nights?
Portion for the nighttime, probably 60% of it.
So you're gonna wanna keep the nights then, at least the evenings?
That's what I just said.
Yeah.
I'll be open Thursday, Friday, and Saturday
Okay,
nights.
you just wouldn't do it
I
7
would not
days a
do it
week?
from Sunday nights, and it makes it hard because we do have a lot of workers, like Walmart workers, that go into work at 3 o'clock in the morning, some going at 1 o'clock in the morning. We have people that go to Rose Hill that take us, and they depend on us, and I don't want to be rude to them, and I don't want to close up. But at the same time, you cannot, I mean, you can't take all your money from day shift and put it at night shift on them nights. I mean, if you're looking in the red every night for them 4 nights a week or 3 nights a week, it's crazy after a while. You say, well, maybe the best decision is 6 or 8 o'clock at night close. I mean, most towns don't have a taxi at night. And I mean, and it makes it very hard on them. If somebody has to go to the hospital, somebody's got to go there, got to go to work, it does make it very difficult on them. And we're not expecting a fortune. We're not expecting to get rich, but at the same time, we got to be able to to realize, well, we got 2 taxis out. Even though them 2 taxis are out during the day and they're making money at daytime, they're still running and wearing the brakes and the tires and everything else on them at nighttime. You still gotta pay for that part of that expense at night. Should you have to take the money from the day shift every day to pay for the profit on them nights at night? No, you shouldn't. I mean, but you shouldn't be able to rake people either at the same time, and I don't want people to think that we're thinking that way.
That extra dollar that you said if you got it from your 6 o'clock on, is that gonna put 2 taxis on the roadway?
Yes, it's put 2 taxis on it, would just help cover the dispatcher and the other cars. I mean, but it would have to be that for 7 days a week. You couldn't just do it on them nights there, because that's where you're making it up on, you know. It's like, it's hard to say, you know, and I ain't trying to be, it's just so, when you sit there all day long and you watch it, and then you go and you do your revenue during the day, you say, oh, this is fantastic, I mean, and it is. But when you do it at night, on them nights there, and you say, well, this is just crazy, we're taking from days to pay for nights.
So,
I mean,
Mr. Green, my suggestion would be submit something formal to us. Not just a, hey, do something, raise the rate, not a Facebook posting, the village won't help. Submit a proposal. What do you want? The hours, the days, the rate increase you're seeking, and as much data as you are comfortable in sharing as to why it's needed.
see, but I gave this to them, the data and stuff, and that's what I took to this.
That was selected call sheets, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I mean, that shows a lot.
And did it include what you wanted?
Not at the end, because we talked to Mayor Courier, which I wish he was there, but it wasn't nothing bad, but we just had a conversation with him.
And you told Mayor Courier the hours you
We
wanted?
told him, we said, we can't keep running these, and he said, I don't blame you. I mean, but he's not here to.
That sounds like a conversation. It doesn't sound like a formal proposal of what you're looking for.
And he asked me what we were looking for, and I more or less told him at the last, and he said.
More or less is not, I'm giving you, if you want action from this
Right.
board, I'm giving you the best suggestion I can right now. Something formal in writing, what you are looking for. Not a more or less, black and white, to where I can look at any of the residents in this room or outside and say, well, Green Taxi is proposing the following.
Right.
And people don't want more or less, they want to know.
Right.
That Walmart worker you're talking about, $1 a ride may not seem like a lot to some of us, to some it is.
Right.
You know, so we have to balance the needs of wanting to help a business, protect a business, but also protect our citizens. So to have from you something formal in writing, exact of what you are asking for, we could then.
I understand what
Do
you're
we
saying,
get your-
and I do understand that, but at the same time, I mean, it's like going to McDonald's. You can't tell them how much to charge for a burger or what time they have to put selling, because Burger King puts selling the burgers at this hour. And that's what's happening with us. We can only have so many taxis because it's regulated by the village.
Again, if you're proposing we get rid of the taxi license.
I know that, I'm not, no, I agree with
You
the
keep
taxi
throwing
license.
out different ideas.
But I'm just saying,
My point is, we need something specific and formal from you in writing, so we know concrete exactly what you're looking for. Because the last thing, if this board did decide to take action, the last thing we would want is 3 or 4 or 6 months later, you saying, well, you probably should have did this
Yeah,
instead.
right.
We want to hear from you. We also want that so we can then look at another provider and say, what do you think of this? Look at people who might be looking to come in if you weren't. What do you, we want everyone's opinion. Everyone, not just from the business owner, but from the consumer side. And we can't get that solid opinion unless we have concrete, formal, what are you looking for? And it should never include things like the words more or less, or maybe this. Give it to us concrete.
All right.
So if you could come up with that, I would argue you don't need to wait to hand it into the next meeting. You can drop it off, the clerk will make copies, put it in our mail, and we can add it to the next agenda. Mayor Courier will be here, you can follow up with him for your conversations at that point as well. But I'm not hearing any desire to take action on the more or less general things we're hearing tonight. My best advice to you is.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, it's gotta be a public.
Well, I mean, action in terms of scheduling a public hearing. We don't have enough to schedule. To schedule a public hearing, we have to have it concrete, formal, written. So even if we were to agree, we would need it from you. So that's my best advice. I don't know if anyone else wants to
Well,
share.
and if we do decide to increase licenses, we have other businesses that are asking to come into Massena, so we're
Right.
gonna have to consider that.
That's
as well.
fine, maybe, probably this week here, we'll probably just start closing, like, trampoline, and just, I'm not trying to
You
be
do
rude.
what you need to
We're gonna
do,
have to, we gotta
but-
do, right, we do. And
You do what
we
you
will
need
try
to do, but
convert
that
for you.
kind of threat is not
I'm
going
not,
to
it's not a
dictate.
threat, I'm saying we're just, that's what it's coming down to.
Again, if you have a formal
All right, we'll
proposal,
put in a formal
we will
proposal.
welcome it in writing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Voucher warrants.
I move that the voucher signed by trustee Carvel and myself be approved. And the deputy mayor and the mayor and anybody else wants to sign the bills, welcome aboard. Thank you.
Motion by trustee DeShay, seconded by trustee Carvel. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None? Passed. Monthly reports. You have a report from the volunteer fire department and Massena permanent firefighters and code enforcement offices. Communications and correspondence. I have none. Trustees?
Just a real compliment I heard the other day down the coffee shop. I saw the sign all over town. Main Street was gonna be closed on Monday for paving. Then they came in and said, they're gonna do it Wednesday. Went down there Thursday, it was all done, one day. And we got the right outfit to do it. It's a beautiful street. If we can get the rest of the village done like that, it'd be beautiful. Fair knows what they're doing. They got the equipment, got the blacktop thing. It's nice to see stuff like that. Thank you. Thank you to all the boys that did it.
Any other correspondence? Hearing none. Closing public comment period. Please.
My name's Gina Snyder from the Blue Spruce Motel, 325 East River Street, Massena.
Good to have you here, Judy.
Yeah, I'm sorry I've been gone for so long.
That's
So
all
this
right.
is why I've been gone so long.
Oh,
Okay, I got a spreadsheet for you here.
Oh,
you're talking my language
Thank you.
now.
thank you.
Yes, you may. Okay, I have one more. Thanks, Ian. Okay, so, during the beginning of the year, Isabel, when Vern Brand got hired, our new tax assessor, I had gone to him, even Mike Ward, I had gone to him before and asked him if we were in line with our competitors. Oh yeah, you are. So Vern Brand came in and I said, listen, I did this spreadsheet up, and I'm not the kind of person who lives tax bill to tax, or paycheck to paycheck. I've always been good saving, really good saver, and now it comes to I live tax bill to tax bill. And so I did this spreadsheet up. You know, this is all public information. And come to find out, I have the smallest amount of motel rooms, and I'm taxed the highest per room. Now I've gone to my assessor, you know, and I showed him that spreadsheet. And then, you know, and I asked him, you know, nothing looked in line to us. So we asked Mr. Brand, can you show me how you assess and show me that I'm in line with my assessors? And he says that is not part of his job. He also told me that without giving him our last year's 3 income and expense reports, that he cannot compare the Blue Spruce Motel with other hotels in Massena. We felt that without the other hotel and motels income statements and stuff, how are they to compare me to them without him having them to compare it to? You know, so I refused to give him my income statement and it's my 3 years income tax returns, okay? Because I didn't feel that he needed to, and I talked to other people and they said he can do it without it. He doesn't need it to prove that. I'm just asking to be proven in line, okay? I go in front of the grievance board because our assessor won't do anything. I asked them to move me from the top down to above Marcy, down with the local non-franchised motels at $15,000 per room. They told me that if I don't give Vern what he's looking for, the financial statements, they can't help me. Now, your grievance board is made up with many people who all would look at my financial statements differently. They would all look at it differently. No one would understand what they are looking at. Okay, so what happened is I got a letter the day before I could move on to the next process, so which showed up to me quite late. Saying, what's that, Michael? The supporting data was insufficient. They asked for my 3 years financial statement. I asked them if you could prove to me that I'm in line with my competitors. Your assessor will not return my phone calls. He will not return any of my emails. I asked him what was your determination on value based off our income we provided to you. Did you provide a recommendation to your bar, okay, Board of Assessing Review, according to our income? Can you provide an outline you used to develop the income approach to value for me? What is the cap rate? What cap rate did you use? Okay, and is that common for our area? And no reply, no nothing. You see, called, received an email from him, called, and left him another message, called, left him another message. So I went in front of the board and I told them that fair market value can be based on rooms. I'm a motel. All my competitors, what we have in common, we rent motel rooms. Okay, some of them may have restaurants. Some of them may have other amenities, okay, that might help them with income or whatever. But mainly, we're all based on per rooms. So those numbers in there aren't including their restaurants. And if it was, their value should be more, not less. But I'm paying over $8,000 more than a franchise person per room being your smallest motel. So at this point, what I'm asking for you is help. What do I do at this point?
I would say, feel free to interject if you feel differently, since this is the first time we're being provided with this, let us look into it. I personally want to get a little more clarification in terms of our exact role versus who's the assessing unit, who's not.
Right,
who
because
wants
I
the
have to
board.
present this tomorrow to them.
Correct.
And I did show the mayor that the day we were in to go see Vern that day, because I run up, I always just go say hi or whatever. But I showed him that, I said, what do you think? And, you know, he said, Gina, you're just a little better.
You see what he did there?
Oh, yeah, I see what he did there. So maybe I should promote it that way, right?
Just a little bit.
Highest tax room in Massena, come support us.
Hey, who ribbon?
I don't want to promote our motel that way. I need help. I want to make a living.
Amen.
Michael and I make $12.50 each a day.
So trustees, if you're okay with that, I will follow up with the mayor, with Gina, and handle accordingly based on what we find out and who, you know, it may be more so on the town side.
Can you wait till after I present it to the town so everybody's on the same page with me?
The mayor's out on business.
Right, okay,
So
good.
it will be a little while anyway, so
Okay.
it gives us a nice buffer.
I was asking for no heads up. Well, maybe. Anyway,
Yes.
I don't know what to do.
And it may be more, the town might be more appropriate, but we'll figure it all out and at least give you that advice in terms of what
Well,
happens.
there was
you're
this
having.
taxpayer, you might not be a business owner, but if you did own a motel in Massena and you did that, and your family's business was dying, and that has not changed in many years. Even when my father brought them their financials making, what, some years it was $700.
Sure.
Okay? So it didn't help them then. So when he asked me for my financials now, what's that gonna help? You know, so this has been going on a long time, and now we're a new generation coming in, and we're hoping we can change
Sure.
things.
Like I said, I don't have enough information to make any promises, but
Yeah,
give us,
and anything you need from
give
me,
us
you know, I have
time.
lots of copies of my financial statements, Matt.
we'll be in
Yeah,
touch.
okay, thank
And
you.
any reason I can make an excuse, stop in and get a donut.
Oh, good.
Require in-person communication in these type of scenarios. Additional closing public comment. Yes, sir.
Real quick, I'll be brief. Joel Drake on 60 Bridges Avenue here in Massena. And what I heard this evening bothers me. It truly bothers me. Now, I do not run a taxi business. I'll be the first to admit it. I have not been privy to any discussions that the mayor and Mr. Green have had. I have not gone out and read his Facebook pages, okay? However, what I did hear was, here is a man who wants to run his business, who knows how to run his business, who understands it, and wants to do a good job for the village. He has a desire to do it, he has a knowledge to do it, but this board has so inhibited his ability to do that. It's troubling. Now, I understand this rule or this code has probably been on the board a heck of a lot longer than most of you have been alive, except for Herkley, okay? But please, rather than asking him for a formal response and maybe increasing his licenses, or let's allow him to charge a little more, what business here in Massena does this board have such an integral interest in that they require or they dictate his rates and how much business he can earn in a night? Okay, I would encourage you, please take a look at what compelling interest you think this board has in regulating such an industry, such a business to the extent that it does, where it prevents a man from running his business the way he sees fit and the way he can. Please ask yourself, what compelling governmental interest is there to have such a regulatory oversight intrusive into his business? I would pray that when this comes back up, that you would all have the wisdom to say, maybe it's time we back off. Allow the other businesses to come in. Allow the supply and demand and the people of this village to actually have a say and allow the industry to determine the rates, to determine the need. Whether it's Uber, whether it's Mr. Green, Massena Transportation, or whoever it is. Simply put, I don't believe there is any call in today's market, in 2019, for the village of Massena to have such a controlling interest in the businesses that they have in the taxi and transportation businesses of this village. Please, give him relief. Give the entire taxi businesses and Ubers here in this village some relief. Because then they can truly do their business the way they want to.
Thank you, Mr. Gregg. A couple of points to follow up on that. We are not regulating Uber. That is not permitted with the state regulations that currently exist. So if you'd like to be an Uber driver, you're certainly free to do it without regulation from the village government. Second point I would make, taxi fee codes, municipal laws, were put into action decades ago for fear out of monopolistic opportunities that exist in small towns where there's not enough business. So in this case, we have one company that runs at night. If this municipality was to have zero regulation, this owner may not do it, but another owner could freely say, I'm the only game in town, how about $15 a ride? So there is a compelling interest for the citizens, and let me finish my points first, please. There is a compelling interest for our citizens that we do have to be mindful and not just say free-for-all for everyone. The next point I would make, you talked about opening up the licenses. This village board was looking to increase licenses, and we had pushback from the very companies that you're talking about that were inhibiting, because they didn't want other companies to come in. So they want the regulation when it prevents a competitor from coming in, but they don't want the regulation when it prevents them from adding on. My next point I would make is, Mr. Green has the ability to run 4 or 5 cabs at night. He is choosing to run 1 or 2 because of demand. Demand is not there. Now he has a theory that it's because of the wait time. However, he himself has said he has been running 2 and he's been dropping into 1 as an experiment. So 2 has not been getting it. But his rate increase is going to put him back at 2. And tonight was the first time he has asked for a rate increase. The first time. So we're not asking for him to jump through hoops. We're asking, since he is now formally asking for something, to tell us specifically what it is. And you heard the gentleman, nice gentleman. But words that scare me are more or less something like,